Hello, everybody out there in TV land. Welcome back once again. What? Oh, that's a good reason why I didn't have my ring light on. Let's see. I kind of like the mood lighting. How is that? Is that working? I'm over here, camera. I'm over here. Maybe because that's the first thing it sees. Let's pull it back just a little bit. Let's see. Can you see me? Good. Still trying to figure it out here. At Studio Ocho. That's right. Here at WSUL. It's Sunday, and you know what that means? It's time for the Super Sully Sunday stream. I have show notes. Well, give it to me by my executive producer, a Pikachu. I think I need just a little light. All right, there we go. That's better. A little bit of Pikachu in your life. A little bit of Pikachu in your heart. A little bit of Pikachu. I was thinking about getting rid of that thing on the shelf there. It's nothing but a dust biscuit, but no. No, I'm not talking about you, Pikachu. No, I wouldn't. I'll throw you in. Hey, speaking of, it's almost time for your bath day anyway. You know, that means. But then I got to take all his pins off of it and stuff. And then AL gave him this awesome present from Japan, from the Tokyo Tower. Hello. Oh, you know, but he likes to keep it clean. That's right. Pikachu, my executive producer, and I am your friend Eric O'Sullivan, the Reverend Eric O'Sullivan, ordained on the internet 31st March 1998, 5 minutes before midnight, 5 minutes before April Fool's Day. That's right, and I take it very seriously. I've performed weddings. I performed naming ceremonies. I'm a spiritual guy. I'm an autodidactic, voracious seeker of knowledge, especially of all things spiritual. And I'll tell you, we're going to talk about Star Wars some more. Why not? Because, you know, it gets some ratings. But no, I'm a genuine Generation 1 Star Wars fan. Star Wars was my gateway drug to Eastern spirituality. And Star Wars is different now because, well, it was sold. As Anakin and Shmi were sold from Gardula the Hutt to Watto, so was Star Wars sold from George Lucas to Disney, the Walt Disney Corporation, for $4 billion in 2012. Therefore, I'm one of these kind of fans that, you know, I will get along with those who want to get along. I will not fall for the bait of pointless conversations with, especially Disney era fans. They have a new continuity. That's the canon. It's a canon. It's your canon. You know, I prefer to see things spiritually. Like, I'm an Old Testament kind of guy, and you guys got some kind of New Testament going on over here, you know? And that's all I got to say for, it's not all I got to say. I got a lot to say about Star Wars. And plus, we got how many comics? Let's see. How many comics this week? Waka, 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 waka. Waka, 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 waka. Waka, 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 waka. How many Marvel comics did we read this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 new Marvel comics this week. In addition to playing What's in the Bag. That's right. We go to our local comic book shop every week, every Wednesday. Wednesday is still New Comic Book Day. I go after work every Wednesday to my local comic book shop. I pick up my pull list and I do some shopping. I look around. Actually, my bus stop is located right in front of my comic book shop. So I look at the bus tracker and I'm like, you got 15 minutes. Why don't you go diving through the dollar bin and see if you can get reunited with some old friends? That's exactly what I did this week. I got a late issue of Daredevil. And it's good. And we're going to go through it. We're going to look at an old comic book because we're traditionally a comic book station. That's right. So we got a couple of things going on today. Let's look at the show notes that Pikachu was so nice to give us. He writes everything down. I am just the talent. That's right. Thank you all for tuning in today. Everyone out there in TV land. I know I lost a bit of traction on the algorithm. Actually, a big bunch of traction. I didn't do the show 2 weeks in a row. This Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, weekly. Well, I skipped 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. Why? Well, one was it was Easter Sunday, and I was going to, to hang out with, friends and family. I made some pre-recorded content, but in the weeks before that, I did an extra long episode with Jim, and we started late, and it kind of encroached into this time. Like I was already burnt out, and I was like, oh geez, it's 1:30, and I'm like, I got my own show at 3, and it's like, oh, what do I do? And it's I was burnt out. I mean, like, I don't know. I didn't want to fake it. Thank you very much for being the most understanding and kind viewer audience out there in the world. Good to see everyone out there. I'm on a weekly review show. It's called Thinking Critical. It's run by Wes. Wes is a comic book fan. He's also a 20-year Air Force veteran, and he settled overseas and married a lady, and they've had 3 kids under the age of 10, and he lives out there, and so in a way to keep in touch with his culture and his kind of, his kind of people, he's got a YouTube station, and he talks a lot about comic books, and he talks a lot about like numbers and data and being able to disseminate data points to a layman, and which I think is one of Wes's strongest suits. Oh, and we got AL out there. Hello, AL. Good to see you. Really can't talk. Shoe shopping with your daughter for her graduation. Well, I hope you find something that fits and in your size. I hope it's on sale. And congratulations to your family. Graduation is a big deal. It really is. It still is. And happy Mother's Day, AL. You're a good mom. And happy Mother's Day to you. It's Mother's Day. It's my first Mother's Day without my mother, but she lives in my heart, and I take her with me with every beat. That's me and my mom at Fenway Park in 1999. Isn't that great? But that's just that is us. It's a great picture of us. That really sums up our relationship, our mother-son relationship. We were friends. I loved her dearly. I liked her too. We had a good relationship. I really did. She sacrificed a lot for me. She had me when she was young, and she divorced her abusive husband by the time I was 4, and by the time I was 5, it was just single mom and me. And it was like in the 1970s when it was not cool to be a single mom. It still was really looked down upon then. It might be still now, for all I know. And like as Steve Martin said, and I pay special attention to single mothers. I help them get their start. Cheo, waka waka. Yes, but I love women. I love my mom. I had a mom. I had grandmothers. If you have a mom, if your mom's still with us, and if you have grandmothers and they're still with us, take advantage of the day. And your mother-in-law, your stepmom, your godmother. I have a godmother. My mom and my grandmothers have passed, but I still have a godmother, and she was my auntie to boot. So I said, happy Mother's Day, godmother, and I did, and that was nice. And it's the sentiment and spirit of the day itself. And yeah, so take your mom out to brunch, or cook your mom brunch. I did that once. I had that a few times. They were always really nice. Yeah. And, I'm always going to miss her. I will. And one thing she put up with was Star Wars. She had to listen to this hyperactive chatterbox, mile a minute, attention deficit, emotionally moody, Star Wars infected child. I was 4 years old in May 25th, 1977. Too young to remember seeing Star Wars for the first time around then. I've seen it in its re-releases. I had this Fisher Price hand crank thing that took a cassette, and I had the Death Star battle cassette. You hold it up to the light and you just crank it. And just had a piece of film inside of it. It was a great device. I still have one. It's out in I have right now a revamped Star Wars shelf in my living room. I found my episode 1 lightsabers. I got Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. And I checked it and I was like, oh shit, you got batteries still in there too. So I threw all the batteries out. Nothing was corroded. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Lord. Thank the Force. So I am blessed and grateful to be a Generation 1 Star Wars fan. You have absolutely no idea. You really don't. Other Star Wars fans, that are not of my generation and my experience and my age range, I'm at that perfect golden age for Star Wars. You should be jealous of me. Kids that were older probably didn't have the toys for as long as I did, because by the time it's 10 years, I'm 10 years old when Return of the Jedi premieres on May 25th, 1983. 10. Still playing with toys, of course, and I would be for the next 3 years. Hey, Pops! Also, I'll be on Pops' show on Sunday, May 25th, on Real Star Wars Day. We're starting off the day. Pops usually has an all-day Star Wars extravaganza, and I'm happy to be part of that. A couple of years now, too, as well. So we're gonna, hang out and talk us some Generation 1 Star Wars stuff. So I had the action figures, I had the lunch boxes, I had the vehicles and the play sets and the sheets and the stickers and the coloring books and just the whole everything. We played Star Wars as children. Our BMX bikes doubled as X-Wing fighters and TIE fighters, and they were also Colonial Vipers. They were also Tron's light cycles. You know what I mean? I was in this golden age of sci-fi entertainment. Really, I'm the one who's blessed and grateful. And I'm sorry, it's been 2 years now. I lost my mom 2 years ago now. It's hard. Pour one out for your mom. I will next Friday when I can add some room to drink and I can have a pint of Guinness for her. And yes, that's going to start at 8:30 in the morning Eastern time with me, the Ginger Ninja, and the Angry Canadian. All huge Star Wars fans. Ginger Ninja, you also know him as James Harris. He is the American artist living in Japan with his family, and it's okay to tell people about this. He's been commissioned and hired to draw art for Topps, the card company. Baseball cards, well, Star Wars cards, and he's putting original art of classic and iconic scenes from the Star Wars movies. And I just wonder, we have to, Pops, write this down for the show notes. We have to harangue James about where to get a link to buy these cards. Where can I get my very own set of James Harris Star Wars cards? That would be fun. That's gonna be great. Let's go back to Star Wars. So yes, Star Wars was my gateway drug to Eastern spirituality. And the nuns at Our Lady of Czestochowa of Andrews Square, South Boston, Massachusetts, 02127, they couldn't compete with the Force. They couldn't compete with lightsabers. They couldn't compete with being a Jedi, or even knowing that the Sith were out there too, and they knew the Force. And so it's just that I grew up Irish Catholic. You would call me a lapsed Catholic. I'm more of a spiritual, independent person, and I like Hinduism. I was very excited for the Pope this week too. God bless you, Pope Leo the 14th, the first American pontiff. When I was a kid, it was the time of Pope John Paul II, and he was the Polish pontiff, the dopest pope in history, the dopest pope. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty big news, and he's the Supreme Jedi. he's Yoda. So when it comes down to the Disney people, so in 2012, Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas for $4 billion. That's a lot of money. Also, I am part of that culture. I've been part of this culture. I'm not going to lie to you. We would define a lot of our behaviors and feelings directed at George Lucas himself to be toxic. We would be some of us. There was a very vocal part of the fandom. A quarter century before an octothorpe, a hashtag called The Phantom Menace, would come across social media feeds and be demonized as a hate group. We had stinky fans too, and vocal fans. We were all, who wasn't happy the day we found out that George Lucas had sold to Disney? We were like, finally, we can get some some traction here on Star Wars. Finally, we can have this full power of this mega corporation behind us. But not only were we thinking that, the academic postmodernists hired from grad schools, and especially Ivy League graduate schools, were thinking the very same thing. We need to change culture, and we need to use pop culture in order to be the vehicle for our message and our agenda and our polemics of a certain point of view, as Obi-Wan would say. The media was just as toxic as the fans. True. I mean, yeah. And it's like the whole Ahmad Best thing. And who pushed him to a self-deletion? Was it back then? It would have been people wouldn't have spent the postage stamps and made the time in order to write something in a pen with Palmer method, or even hit print and type something. I mean, that's closer to, but mailing a letter would have is like, back in 1999 when the Phantom Menace came out, like, what did we have? We had AOL. How privileged you would have to be to have had America Online or CompuServe, or you know what I mean. I had remember you having Yahoo Mail. I kind of miss having a Yahoo Mail account. Dwayne, hello, good to see you. Haha. And but yeah, so Star Wars was my gateway drug to Eastern spirituality. It was peppered with Eastern stuff. This crunchy Northern Californian, with his like post-war baby boomer kind of the Northern California meant something once upon a time, and especially in the 20th century. It meant crunchy, green. It meant hippie-ish. It meant granola, avocados. It meant peacenik. It meant, non-traditional American, perhaps not even Christian, kind of, a point of view. That's what, Northern Californian crunchy meant. And that's exactly what defines George Lucas and his intent with his movies, his adventure movies. His failed attempt at getting the Flash Gordon license, which led to him adapting his own story into this beautiful mythology that we all love today, called Star Wars. And Star Wars is about Skywalkers, and Star Wars is about space magic, and Star Wars is about lightsabers and laser swords, and Star Wars is about Jedi, and Star Wars is about, just giant space battles. Yes. It's about good versus evil. It's about simple storing mores and modes. It follows the classic, what we know now as the Campbellian cycle. That is actively trying to be dismantled and destroyed and discredited by academic postmodernists coming out of academia for the past 30 years. It's about, and there's so many ways that modernity looks at something such as Star Wars and is so critical about it, uses that critical theory. Fear Monarch, how are ya? Good to see you, man. Where was I? But really, so Disney fans are very possessive about their Star Wars. It's the canon now. That is their canon. That is their Star Wars. They have to accept, they do accept the Old Testament. They do. And that is the original trilogy. And that is the prequel trilogy. But it is not KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, or Old Republic, because that would incur. Now begins cherry picking. Then they owned it all, so it's theirs to begin with. So they can cherry pick all they want, and so Darth Revan has been cherry picked, and this is only made canon. I only have a loose knowledge of Disney canon because, hey, I try to play along for several years. It's been 10 years now. It's been a decade. It will be a decade in December for the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens. That's coming later this year. That came out in December of 2015. Remember, all of the sequel movies came out in December. In May is Star Wars month. It's not just May the 4th. I like May the 1st because that's 0501. That's the 501st day. I think that's clever as hell. Worthy of Star Wars. Hey, how's it going? Lane Kramer, good to see you. I lived in Northern California in 1977, worked at Toys R Us, and Star Wars was white hot. It was. So it's something called presentism. What is presentism? I'll look it up. It says presentism. Definition. What's the definition of presentism? Presentism is the uncritical adherence to present-day attitudes, especially the tendency to interpret past events in terms of modern values and concepts. Presentism, an attitude towards the past, dominated by present-day attitudes and experiences. Presentism is about looking at Star Wars, shot in 1976, when literally 95% of the population of England, where it was shot, was basically white blokes and blokettes and Sheilas and but and then accuse it of being racist and a past that you have to fix. So Disney fans, especially the younger they get, they're very possessive over their Star Wars. They're very defensive over their Star Wars. They consider any criticism or feedback. There's a difference between feedback and criticism, and we're going to sidebar there too. They take feedback and criticism very personally and by design. Because from taking it personally, they can defend it viciously. And but what's the difference between like I was saying before? Like I am on a criticism. I'm on Thinking Critical. I started the show off by saying this. I'm on Thinking Critical. And it's a review show. My role is in part of the panel format. There is like 6-person panel. Like I'm the reader. First, I started as the lapsed reader, and then I got back into it because of these people. And now I am the weekly reader, and I go to my local comic book shop and I get a bag of funny books and I talk about it and I show them off too. Like, what are you recommending this week? I get a bag of comic books right there. So I'm also been for the past 2 years, I get review copies, I get reader copies. And so I can read up to 80 books a week. 80 books a month. I can read 80 books a month. Sometimes it's like 20 different floppies between DC, mostly Marvel, at least sometimes 12 to 15, at least sometimes 15 a week. We had 15 Marvel books that we read just this week. And that's usually per week is around that number. Minimum 12. Sometimes it's a bigger week at about, 17 to 18, but it kind of balances out. I really believe I should start counting them. What did I read this month? What would give me some data? That's just like, so no, it would be 80. No, Marvel a week, you stupid. If it's 15 a week, that's 60. Sorry. So that's room for 20 more because there's my DC books. There goes my Image books, my Skybound books. I got at least, I got like 15 books on my pull list anyway. What's up, James? Good to see you. How are you? Hope to see you at Fan Expo Boston. I'll be there definitely Friday and Saturday. Going back to Star Wars real quick, so it didn't sell out. I committed to buying a very expensive, but I want it, a photo opportunity with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen together, the three of us in a photograph. And that's my present to myself this year, my big extravagance. I'll be taking that at Boston Fan Expo. And so I'll be like, I'll get my, and I paid the extra $30 for a frame, and it's going above the Star Wars shelf, and I deserve it. Because like when I look at that picture of me and Bill Shatner, it just brings me so much joy. I got a picture with William Shatner 2 years ago at Fan Expo Boston, and altogether it cost $150. And I thought that was pricey then. And like these prices are never going down. And Ewan McGregor photo op is $250. Hayden Christensen's photo op is about $220. The autograph is expensive too. There's no autograph included in that. And in these picture lines too, I'll be lucky to have the whole 10 seconds it takes to take this picture. I'm actually starting to tackle my backlog of reading. So far, I've finished King's Rorschach and Heroes in Crisis because I'm such a masochist. You might need a shower, but don't. You might need to, but don't go to therapy at Sanctuary. There are no doctors there. There is no medical oversight there. That is just what is wrong. And in Fair Monarch, if you look at issue 1, the very last panel, there's a Green Lantern that Superman sees. There was supposed to have been a dead Green Lantern part of. Who would have it been? Exactly. Who was the dead Green Lantern? Before editorial told Tom King, no, we can't do that. But it was already drawn. It was colored too. It's there. You'll see it plain as day now. Improv, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wear my T-shirt with the logo. The logo. I have T-shirts with this. Oh boy. Good to see you. So yeah, going back to Disney fans, and okay, you can't push back on anything that they make because the Disney fans take it personally, and it's their canon now. So I've tried to kind of pay at least a little bit of attention to Disney canon. I used to care. I tried to care. I tried to play along. I was like Token in the South Park, I'm out. That's it. And walk away. from the Disney stuff, but not Star Wars. So buttons. Andor. And the big hero of Andor is Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma is one of the rebel leaders. We first meet her in Star Wars, 1977, before A New Hope. We see her again in Return of the Jedi. And I think she's played by different actresses, too. But that doesn't matter. It's just like you need this. She's just one of the rebel, leaders. And in this iteration of the story, of Disney's story, in Disney's universe, Mon Mothma is very integral in the government of the New Republic. That's after Return of the Jedi. And in the Disney iteration, she was integral into disarming and disbanding the fleet, the Navy. There was no standing fleet anymore. And it helped the First Order rise. It was the big thing about the First Order wouldn't have rose if you had a standing army, a standing navy, a standing military. And she was integral in the process of letting your guard down like that. So I'm like, a vote for Mon Mothma was literally in your own continuity, because remember, Hux fired Starkiller 1 and destroyed the entire Hosnian system, billions upon billions and billions of sentient life beings, sentient life forms of people. But Mon Mothma is your hero, and yay, girl power. It's all because she's a positive woman, strong, you know what I mean? And just, yay, girl power, girl boss. But also they wrote themselves into a corner at the beginning of this thing, back in between 2012 and 2015. Like, what is the First Order? How did they come to power? What is the resistance? What the fuck is a resistance? Why is there a resistance? That's from like Les Mis. This is some theater kid level bullshit. What's a fucking resistance in Star Wars? No, this is supposed to be the New Republic. Why does the New Republic need a resistance? A resistance to the First Order? What the hell is that? And why? Because of the internal world politics of this. It was because they had no standing fleet, no standing army. And the First Order was allowed to bloom and start power and push. And, yeah. And I'm not blaming the woman. I'm blaming bad writing. You didn't have to do that narratively. You didn't have to go there. But hey, it's all about the Disney story and the Disney canon and the Disney fan feeling that this level of criticism, or is it just feedback? What is the difference? Well, criticism takes, you need criterion, having a criterion, and then that, having criteria is the plural of criterion. And then if, having these as your lenses and having a checklist of things to be like artistically, blah, blah, woof, woof, all down the line, being critical and trying not letting your personal tastes cloud your judgment of being like, well, this works or this doesn't work. Jacqueline, how's it going? Good to see you. How are you? Let's see. So yeah, I even asked Rock. Let's see, Mon Mothma, just like Nerd Cookies made a post. There's Mon Mothma for you. Sure, but all roads not just lead to the sequel trilogy, but it's Mon Mothma who's responsible for disbanding the New Republic fleet, which makes it possible for the First Order to rise. Rooting for her is a fictional vote for weakness and ultimately the loss of billions. And I'm not saying that to be like anti-girl, anti-woman, not even anti-feminist. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just there's so much I can take of feminism, and there's so much I can't take of feminism. I'm like that. You should be like that with everything, you know. But the post suggests that, you know, is often, you know, yeah. Then I did a deep search on this. Yeah, the act's impact is evident in the galaxy's vulnerability to the First Order, a militaristic regime formed from imperial remnants. You know, her push for the Military Disarmament Act passed after the Galactic Concordance reduced military strength, making the New Republic vulnerable. And so, and I get it, but, you know, I'm you know, conclusion, Mon Mothma's decision, particularly her military disarmament and the Galactic Concordance, had profound unintended consequences that contributed to the events of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. While her vision for peace and democracy shaped the New Republic, it also left it vulnerable to the First Order's rise, aligning the user's ex-post suggesting her responsibility for disbanding the military. This analysis, grounded in canonical sources, highlights the complexity of her legacy and its lasting impact on the galaxy far, far away. Isn't that? I think that's kind of sassy. I like that. That's Grok. I'm reading Grok. So yeah, I mean, she's, you know, but I mean, Mon Mothma, you know, I mean, she's a really good character. And this kind of just like, and the whole thing of like Andor was like, it's a spy show. It's meant for a mature audience. It's meant for like, this is after 8 p.m. kind of TV. If your kids are up that late, if you're letting your kids watch this, yeah, no, that's on you. I mean, we made Skeleton Crew for your kids. We made Young Jedi Adventures for your kids. You know, you could watch the Jar Jar movie, that Phantom Menace movie. And that's another thing too. It's like people defending. There was a recast. Ginny Smits, who played Bail Organa, is now being played by Benjamin Bratt, great actor. So they got Ginny Smits to reprise his role as Bail Organa in the Obi-Wan show. They couldn't get him again for Andor season 2 here. So they got Benjamin Bratt to play him. Great actor. Why not? You know, just like I'm fine with the recast, but it's something of like it's a quote he made, and he uses the word shit, shit, in its context. The vulgar Earth word, the vulgar English Earth word shit. Now there are in-universe words like poodoo, and it's like, I mean, but it's like not a place for swearing, really. And it's like if you defend this, you know, if you push back and be like, no, they should have said poodoo. But if he said poodoo, it would have defied the gravitas. Because saying poodoo is kind of like that saying like doo-doo. There are many words for feces. There are many vulgar words for feces. And I think that the writer could have come up with something very new, something like, you know, Alderanian, you know, culturally appropriate to his culture. You know, what's the Alderanian vulgar term for poop? Why couldn't we have had that instead? Because that's the lack of imagination on the writers. It's about being provocative. It's about, you know, not only do we have an essay attempt where the intended target, one of our heroines, one of the defends herself with lethal force. You know, we also have a same-sex kiss, a romantic thing, and then we also have, Bail Organa saying shit, literally. And it's just like, I mean, that's so un-Star Warsy, but that defines Disney Star Wars. Yes, Disney Star Wars is the shit. Is shit. I don't want to, but I don't like. You mean it's got, But there's so many people working on it. Yes, there are so many people working on it. And this is the direction their bosses gave them, and this is literally the best that they're doing with what they got, and I can respect that. And I don't have to like it. I don't have to watch it. I stay informed about it, and I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping that it gets good. I really am. I would love to have good Star Wars to watch. I deserve good Star Wars. I think if I got good Star Wars, you would be getting unbelievably good Star Wars, Disney fan. I think Disney fans, you are settling for second-rate stuff. You are. And just there could be a space we could all enjoy together. And cui bono about division, about dividing the fandom, about dividing the fans, generationally, ideologically. Who benefits in that? What's going on there? The Force it's big enough. This galaxy is big enough for all of us. And it's not a far, far away either. It's right here. What's faster than the speed of light? The speed of love. I believe in that. Happy Mother's Day, Mike Ortega. Good to see you. I hope that you give hugs and kisses to everyone. All the mamas. All the single mamas. All the single mamas. All the single mamas. Hey, Phil the Kill. How you doing? Devers needs to play first base. Eric, what a punk. I'm kind of I barely know what's going on. I don't pay attention to sports news and sports drama because I pay attention to independent comic book crowdfunding drama. Apparently, so I have my drama quotient is filled. I watch a lot of Ethan Van Sciver. I don't know. It's like being a Howard Stern fan. It's like being an Opie and Anthony fan. We're in the same kind of crowd. We are the whack pack that tunes in to Stern. We are the pests that tunes in to Opie and Anthony. This is weird, hostile kind of fan. We're kind of hostile to each other too. Seriously, if you can't give it, don't take it. If you can't take it, don't give it. And if you get it, you know what I mean? You just sometimes the best thing to do is just fucking be like, I ain't gonna even respond to this, and just walk away and just be like, give it a day or two. Seriously, it's like. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Mon Mothma. Seriously, it's wow, shit. It was so all of this heroism, all of this lionizing of Mon Mothma, it leads to the same conclusion that we cut to Han Solo. He's a deadbeat dad. To Luke Skywalker, who, in the words of Mark Hamill, is Jake Skywalker. And to Lando Calrissian, who, what the hell did Lando do with his life? Why isn't he at home with a beautiful wife, surrounded by grandchildren, and as an administrator of another facility? Why the hell is he in a van on the party planet? Mayhem. I heard him. Raphael Devers is there's some kind of drama with him. Maybe he just wants to get traded, and because he's the DH, and he doesn't, and he refuses to play position. Well, can trade him to a National League team. See how long he has that, idea. Do they have the designated hitter in the NL now? I see. It's I love baseball, but I like watching a game. I'm so far. I just found out about the pitch clock, the pitch count. That shit's fun. But yeah, poor Mon Mothma. She got written into a corner with these bad writers that really don't respect lore and don't respect there was a really good working system here. Then you came in and you just You took out some of the working parts, and now you're wondering, and it's like, oh wow, like, we have to lie to each other that we're enjoying the ride, especially the younger people, because it's their vehicle, it's their ride, it's their story, it's their canon, and they take it very personally. They take any criticism or feedback as a personal attack, and they must defend their story, their canon, their Star Wars from insult and injury, from especially the old fans that just don't accept it. They just don't get it anymore because they're old and out of touch. This is the Force. This is Star Wars. Thank you very much. Amen. Hallelujah. That's right. This is the gospel according to Luke. That's right. George Lucas. Let's see if he pops up. George Lucas. Let's see. Someone mentions George Lucas. You know what I mean? Just George Lucas just pops up and he's got these eyes. It's amazing. He comes when he's called. But yeah, I mean, I wish I could, fucking Disney fans, they're just like, this doesn't have to be unlikable. This could be done a lot better. This could be made for the general audience. This could be made for all fans. But the thing is, it's about... That's a train. It's about... That's why communists tear down statues and erase history and replace it with, what Soviet math was? And the Nazis did that too. You know what I mean? There was just everything was history, and education was through the lens of the government and the intention of the government. And that's how the new regime of Star Wars is. And that same thing, we have to pull down the existing stuff. But also interesting, they cherry pick from it when nothing else works, and they know they can get traction on it. Just imagine when I hope that Zendaya is cast as Mara Jade. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not anti-Zendaya. I think she's all right. I think she's pretty, and she's got a really thin physique. You know what I mean? She looks like a long distance runner. And she's got a white mom and a black dad. And so she's kind of like the perfect girl for like this just past, era of Hollywood in a way, But I don't mind her as Chani in Dune. I mean, that's a completely different story. I can talk for hours about Villeneuve's Dune and Villeneuve's Chani versus the other Chanis. That's its own show. But I liked her as Michelle Jones in those Spider-Man movies. She was MJ, but she wasn't Mary Jane. And MCU, which is quite technically an Earth 19999999. It is not Earth 616. It is Earth 19999999. I looked it up. Seriously. It's been different since Iron Man 1. I am Iron Man. No, Tony Stark kept his identity for years. Jarvis was a human butler. Hank Pym invented Ultron. It's been different since day one. So it's more like that. That it's its own thing. It's multiverse, whatever. But I didn't expect to like those Spider-Man movies so much. I came to them years afterwards. I had seen, we had gone to see Spider-Man Far From Home at the movie theater, and I did that as a meetup bunch, and with some of the local fans that we went to the fan expos with, and it's nice. We just meet up once in a while, and we saw Spider-Man, and I hadn't seen Homecoming or or the other From Home. Is it Far From Home or No Way? Yeah, it was Far From Home. If we saw No Way Home, the multiverse one. And hey, Cajun Corey, what is up? Good to see you. Maybe will I be seeing you in Dallas Fan Expo at the end of this month? Hanging out with the Thinking Critical crew. Yes. Disney Spider-Man, but it was cute. It was fun, and like all the race swaps of like Peter's friends. Well, it works for the MCU because it's been different since Game 1, and I from that Iron Man thing, it's its own thing. It has to be this way for the I didn't mind Flash. Flash was Flash. I didn't mind Ned because that's not Ned Leeds is a different character. You know what I mean? Betty Brant, she's a different character too. And who's the other one? Is Norman Osborn's eventual wife, mother of Normie. Oh gosh, I don't want to look it up. Dwayne, help! Oh gosh, what's her name? And Mary Jane wasn't even a high school friend. Was Gwen Stacy a high school friend? I don't know, because literally, I think there were so many. He was in high school for like the first 15 issues, I guess, and then after that, it was like, well, when Ditko left or something, that was like they just like aged him up and just like, no, let's stop telling like little kid stories. Let's tell soapy melodrama, because you can't tell like really good romance stories with a teen. Like was it supposed to be Archie? Or do they want to be Spider-Man? I don't know. Let's see. Anyone read any comic books this week? Anyone read any good comic books this week? I started off my stack with a digital stack of books. I'm so honored to get every week from friends, and I'm able to contribute to review shows. And for the past over 2 years, so I have a fairly good handle on the editors and on the artists and on the writers of Marvel Comics. DC, not so much. If I don't have to read it, I won't. I'll read what I buy, especially when it comes to DC. But I'll read all of these Marvel books. We had 15 this week. Let's see. Yeah, Liz Allen. There we go. Thank you. I know Dwayne knows everything. Exactly. What's up, Lord Thoth? Good to see you. I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I'm the biggest fan of Part 3. I know lots of people diss it, but I'm one of its lovers. I love the black suit. Yes, I will see you there. I'll be there Friday and Saturday. I'm leaving first thing Sunday. We're trying to get Fatal J. I'm trying to get Fatal J to show up too. So if you hear from Fatal, if you're down with Fatal J, send him my way. If you down with Fatal J, yeah, you know me. You down with Fatal J? Every last lady. Ow! That's the train. Yeah, I got a direct flight out of Dallas like at 9 a.m. on Sunday, and I'm like, oh, I couldn't pass that up. Yeah, Josh will be there. MVP will be there. Aaron's going. Chances are Doc is going. Perch will be there. We'll have some table space, perhaps. Like H.H. Germain of Sigma Comics is like, he's gonna give us like, that's gonna be our home base, and we're gonna I'll meet you at Sigma Comics, and so yeah, keep your eye out. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Rock and roll music gonna play all night. Come on, baby, you won't take long. Only take a minute just to sing my song. Yeah, gonna have a good time tonight. Rock and roll music gonna play all night. Come on, baby, it won't take long. Only take a minute just to sing my song, yeah. Mary, Mary, wanna be with you. And this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring it home to you. 'Cause I feel good tonight. And everything is gonna be right, yeah. I love the dancing Parker emo scene. I love emo people. No, that was made for me. And I saw, the Gwen stuff was stupid. It was. I know it's obvious where Sam Raimi was monkey wrenching it, but there's so many good things to it. The black costume, emo Pete, and also just the lack of the forgiveness that Harry gives Peter, and the sheer emotional valence that when Peter realizes that he harmed his best friend, that fighting with your friends is one thing, but he blinded him in one eye and scarred him, and just the regret that Tobey Maguire was able to give through, and that Harry still showed up for him as New Goblin, and they've never done that before. Now Harry's been Green Goblin, but this was new, and I liked his death scene. I think James Franco is a fucking great actor, and he Me Too'd himself out of some great gigs. Him, like Casey Affleck, like we're missing great actors of our generation because of their antics. But hey, there is a line. All right. Let's see. What did we read this week, motherfuckers? It was all new Venom number 6. Now, I liked it. The art was tight, and it shows it's all info dump about the connection, no pun, between Mary Jane and Venom, the symbiote, and what became of it, why they had needed it, the cui bono. Who benefits? Well, Venom benefits, and Mary Jane gets to stay alive. And it also shows an interesting part into Mary Jane and Paul Rabin's relationship, which we know has been deteriorating since the loss of their imaginary children back in the last volume during Zeb Wells' tenure on Amazing Spider-Man. They've been going to couples therapy. They have intimacy issues. They've also taken in teenage Dylan Brock into their home, after the Venom War. But that's when Mary Jane ended up being connected to Venom. I don't want to ruin everything for you. But I will say this, as through interpretations. Okay, my dirty joke was that it must be like a hentai tentacle porn going on underneath the surface of that Venom suit. You know what I mean? Because if your woman's not getting it, she'll find it somewhere else. Live and learn. I said that. And that Venom's a carnivore. Paul Rabin is a vegetarian. There's already been a joke about his cooking that Dylan's like, you're into vegetarian cooking, but guess what? I think the first domino is going to be Mary Jane's diet, because Venom requires, Venom would eat you. Remember, Carnage wants to eat you. That's what makes the Carnage book a lot of fun. Because Eddie Brock's like, okay, you can eat serial killers. I just got to find them first. Deal. For now. Aw, thank you, everyone. Lots of people out there giving me some, on Twitter, giving me some love. Just show this real quick. It's just some pictures of me and my mom. This is me and my mom. Probably 20 years ago. Yeah. When I had my earring in. I'm probably about, my mid-30s. This is my Blue Lantern shirt. And it looks like my grandfather's breezeway. Actually, I'm going to be right back. Hold on. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Something with hair. Yeah. But that's my mom. That's my favorite picture of my mom. She won a pie eating contest as a kid. I love that picture. It's great. And that's probably one of the last holidays. I think that's Christmas 2023. Or was it Easter 2024? Thank you very much for letting me share that with you. You know, they'll get there sooner or later. I mean, because there was a new status quo after the Venom War. You know, what it did was it took Eddie Brock away from the cosmic level, God level shit, and it's grounded him. And and all these characters are needy. Eddie Brock needs Carnage to live. Carnage needs Eddie as a host that is strong enough that he can coexist with. It's not Cletus. And MJ has kind of that kind of thing going on with Venom as well. They bonded because they needed to live out of the situation that they got themselves into story-wise at the end of Venom War. What's up, Mo? How are you? Salam, everyone. Sorry about that, Dwayne. Right, because it's a symbiote, so it needs a host. You know, like that's when it's yeah. It's not really a parasite, is it? Oh, I'm sorry, Mo. Yeah, so we read all new Venom number 6. It wasn't that bad. And my final verdict on it is I wish it was issue number 2. I swear, seriously, this could have been a stronger title if you had just gotten to the point a lot quicker. I mean, it was just too much of this bullshit. Who done it? Who is Venom? Who is the new Venom? You could have saved the reader a lot of effort and just maybe stronger stories if you didn't have all that fluff in there. You know, I don't know. It just call me silly, call me a critic, or call it feedback. You know, what is the difference between feedback and criticism? Seriously, criticism, I feel, is an educated level of lenses to put this through. It's like, I feel story-wise, all new Venom would be stronger if maybe the choice to show Mary Jane as Venom came a lot sooner in the book, and because it's it was a better story. It was very cogent, had decent art. Ooh, that would be good. He probably already has been. You know, you can ask Rock. Let's ask Rock a thing or two. Let's ask Rock a thing or two. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, Amazing Spider-Man #3. Joe Kelly, Pepe Larraz, Itsy Bitsy. I had to look up Itsy Bitsy on one of my many sabbatici. Sabbaticus, some guy about a pseudo. Amazing Spider-Man #3. It was better than 2 and 1 and 2, and the art's decent. No John Romita Jr. stuff about Hellgate, if that's the name of the character. Yeah, it's kind of Deadpool 14 by Cody Ziegler and Company. Color me disinterested. I'm off the Cody Ziegler train. I mean, it's just not that good. But Deadpool, you know why? I know, because there's too many characters he's balancing. There's Deadpool's daughter. There's the symbiote dog. There's Taskmaster. There's and it's better when it's just Wade. And that's why this week's Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe One Last Time, issue #2, is really fun, because it's Deadpool and the voices in his head, which are all Deadpool. So you don't need extra characters. You need a Deadpool with a dissociative identity disorder, the voices in his head. And it's fun, good art. If you want your Deadpool story, it's over with Cullen Bunn at Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe One Last Time, issue 2. Catch up on issue 1. Fantastic Four Fanfare #1. It's not even a prequel to the movie, because it's anthology. So it's 3 little one-shots, and one of them is by Mark Waid, and it could be. I could say nice things about it, because the art's pretty good. But I'm kind of done with Mark Waid in a way. I'm not. I don't want him canceled. I'm kind of done with them. We were talking about him yesterday on Wes's Thinking Critical. The whole the black flowers he sent to somebody's funeral, apparently, and I think that Aaron Sparrow corroborated that. The tortious interference attempt on Richard C. Meyer, which resulted in a negotiated settlement that includes that they don't talk about each other or the case. So we'll never know. But guess what? That went to court. They both fought their fight. And they negotiated an agreement, a peace. And part of the terms of that negotiation was an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Don't talk about each other. Don't talk about this case. Go forward. And that's what they did. And that's actually pretty good. I mean, because it could have gone to, they just would have, again, perpetuating in courts and all this stuff. But that was based on Mark Waid telling Avalanche Comics not to publish Richard C. Meyer or else. And that's what is that tortious interference? Am I even allowed to talk about it? And that's alleged. So, allegedly, did Mark Waid say that to him? Did I say the right comic book company? See, exactly. I don't want to implicate myself in anyone's bad business, but we're talking about the behavior of the writer itself, And then came the Trump, the attempted attempt on President Trump, and before, and during the election, and he was praising the attempt in not so many words, or regretting the aim of, lo and behold, the Guiltman returns. You can click on his icon, and it'll take you to his channel, or maybe you can right click it and open in a new tab and go and subscribe to the Guiltman Returns. Mm-hmm. I will not be attending Dallas Fan Expo, but I am attending Boston Fan Expo and meeting Orlando Bloom, John Rhys Davies, Jason Isaac, and Christopher Lloyd. Good idea. I should bring my copy of Buckaroo Banzai for him to sign. It might be like, think about it. It's going to be like, it cost me $50 to have Weller sign it. It might cost $80 to get us. And if I'm going to get an autograph of Christopher Lloyd, but I already got, but he was in Buckaroo Banzai. You know, that's how I would swing it. Like, will you sign my Buckaroo Banzai, John Big Booty? It's Big Booty! You know. I'll see you there on Saturday. Holy Pope and Pope, new Pope. Ladies and gentlemen, all hail the Pope. Long live the Pope. So yeah, then it's Jeff Week #1, which is half of it's by Kelly Thompson, and the other half is by Gustavo Duarte. And I liked it pretty much because I only like it because it's cute. It's not serious. I have no expectation. And stylistically, it's a lot like a Sunday comic book, a Sunday comic strip. Today is Sunday, and on your Sunday newspaper, you would have the funny section, the comics section, all right? In the daily paper, you would have the comics pages, which is usually 1 or 2 pages of daily comic strips, usually in black and white, and also sharing perhaps other things like the horoscopes and the crossword puzzle and the Sudoku or Scrabble or the Scramble, I think it was. Jumble. That's what it was. Jumble. I love Jumbo. LT, how are you? Yeah, I already have Wellers. All I need is Goldblum, Helen Hunt, and John Lithgow. That would be actually wicked cool. That would be awesome. So yeah, it's Jeff. It's cute. There's nothing wrong with Jeff, and it's actually good to push Jeff because he's a phenomenon because of Marvel Rivals. Push that shit. Get people reading comic books. I hope people would. Aaron Sparrow had the best idea. Like, too bad there wasn't a digital newsstand in the background of these, of Marvel Rivals, where you could click on it, spend like $2.99 American, and get this digital copy of it's Jeff Week to read digitally, via the Marvel Rivals game. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, he said that yesterday on the show. My jaw dropped. And remember, wherever you are, wherever you go, there you are. Is Perfect Tommy still alive? I'd love to get Perfect Tommy's autograph too. That would be great. He was like my favorite of the Hong Kong the Buckaroo Banzai and what was the Hong Kong what? Banzai and the Hong Kong Cavaliers. Yeah. There's supposed to have been a sequel against the World Crime League. And even at the end of the movie, it says, like, Buckaroo Banzai will return. Laura Kinney Wolverine, Cyclops, #6. Psylocke, #7. Spider-Gwen, #13. Storm, #8. We're just going to lump all together in one. Those are 4 books written by and for women. There's nothing wrong with women writing comic books if they're good writers. Because we're going to get to a little bit of women writers in comic books. And just when we open the bag. It's our next segment. We're going to take the Wayback Machine and look at an old comic book. But these, geez. So like I say, I read 60 of these Marvel books a month. And that's not everything that they put out. And do you really need to be publishing 60 magazines periodically? How does this not dilute the product and the expectations of entertainment? It really does. I mean, Psylocke by Alyssa Hugh Wong of I got blocked for just out of we talked about that a little bit. Yeah, I guess I'm an anti-Asian folk because I said, "What's up with Danny Rand? I've only known him all my life." Oh, what? Greg Pak and Alyssa Wong has blocked you? And someone in the chat said you're probably on an anti-AAPI block list. What? They know they know about my tattoos? Yeah. Yeah, Marvel made the best movie adaptations. Last Starfighter, Dragon Slayer. They did Battlestar Galactica. They did some James Bond ones, like For Your Eyes Only, Spy Who Loved, Moonraker. For Your Eyes Only, that was the one that came out in '81. Maybe I should get that for the spinner rack because I think it has the Columbia Bike contest on the banner on the top of the cover, and I'm a sucker for that summer of 1981. But yeah, those just Storm was beautiful, like art. It's got a decent story. Spider-Gwen has got a great art, great cover by Mark Brooks. He's 2 for 2. This last month and this month, he's done 2 really outstanding covers for Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, and Laura Kinney Wolverine, Erica Schultz, Psylocke, Alyssa Hugh Wong, Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, Stephanie Phillips, and Storm is written by Maria Iodelli, and which is probably the best of the books of these 4 books. And 3 of them are X books in a way. Laura Kinney Wolverine. She's not just she's Logan's clone, but now he's big bad dad. He's daddy Logan. So he called their father-daughter now. That's the relationship in 2025. I think Honey Badger Gabby is a little daughter too. Yes, Star Wars has a new volume post Return of the Jedi, and we were just talking about that at the beginning of the show. I mean, you've got some beautiful. We're going to look at yes, exactly. We're going to look at a comic book. Let us look at a comic. This is Star Wars, issue number 1. Written by Alex Segura with art by Phil Noto. Phil Noto look at this cover. I love Phil Noto's cover. I love his craft. And I usually love his art. I mean, but this is the first page. And I'm like blown away. This is a splash page in medias res. We start off with Luke Skywalker's voice. We don't have much time. We need to cut off those pirates before they reach our supply ships. Copy that, Luke. Squat and look at this. Look at those swooshy lines. I mean, and look at this, this background. And he just drew a circle. And I'm like, he draws great faces, but these ships are terrible. These action scenes are just so flat. It's like pirates have gotten a hold of imperial stuff. And look at that. Look at this onomatopoeia. I mean, this is a shitty. Look, this is a double page spread right here. So this should not be. This should be on the left-hand side, and this should be on the right-hand side. And these two pages make one single huge image that's meant to be that way. So if this is the right-hand side, and you're turning the page, and this is on the next page, your editor fucked up. That is always a rookie error. It's just a colorful circle. It's a colorful circle. Thank you. It is a nice cover. Yeah. But this is just such bad space. I mean, look at these these swooshes behind. I wonder, did he draw outlines of those, or were those just put in by the colorist? You know, and they look like color forms. I mean, these are some of the. I mean, yeah, look how flat this looks. Oh, they're swarming me. Oh no! What kind of a ship is that? It's got a hull of a tie, of a bottom, of what? Are these like hodgepodge ships? Are we supposed to find out? Wait, like, oh no! Look at these, like. Failed trumpet to our. Okay, there's a. Then there's one that's going down. The scum who's killed Sandrin. See, great faces. But, and then page 13. And then, Mon Mothma! Here we go. And this is the start of letting down your guard. Talking over tables. So this is Phil Nutto's strength. People, not action scenes. I was talking about, if you remember, I was talking about this stuff of his action shots back in the fall of the House of X. And those X-Men issues too. They was jamming with his often battery partner Jerry Duggan. I like them too. And then this is Baylor Valance. I don't know where in the continuity he comes from. I can always look it up. But look at, like, oh my gosh, like oh boy, they got like, just, this isn't good. Where did that bolt come from? Why would that bolt come from behind? It looks like it's coming from his side, and he's looking at his side. But he's in front of him. And that's Han Solo. And then they're in a shootout. Come closer, Jedi. Let me speak my truth to you before it's too late. My truth. All three stories. Luke's in danger. He's hurt. Maybe that's when he gets his dinky blown off. More Mon Mothma. And that's it. I mean, just look at Star Wars. Number 1. It is boring. It was really, really boring. Yeah. There's Sam Wilson, Captain America, 5 of 5, by Greg Uwak and Evan Narcisi. It was a a comic book journalist for these websites, and a lot of them are closing. Gaming and comic book journalism websites. Yeah, it's just not there anymore. But the best part about this book, it's over. And it's got a legacy number too, as well. So the legacy number will probably start back up again over when Chip Zdarsky has his new issue number 1 of Captain America. That's coming out shortly. Ultimate Wolverine number 5. There's an artist change. And I love the new art. I really do. And it's about the Ultimate Universe Sabretooth. And how his name's Alex Linz. He's the guest artist. And so this is the strongest Chris Condon book I've read since Enfield Gang Massacre. Yeah, I'm not completely. I don't completely like his Green Arrow. It doesn't grab. I don't want to read it. I'm not reading it. I like reading books. If I wanted to read it, if I was interested, if I thought it was good, I would have. I'd be perpetuating, readership and buying it. What else did we read this week? West Coast Avengers number 7. Boring. Best parts about Killer Watt. And yeah, that's about it. X-Men number 16. Jed McKay. With Nitho Diaz on art. Let's see how much longer Nitho Diaz is penciling this book. I like it. It's cartoony and it fits well with the Ryan Stegman, tone and feel. Because Nitho Diaz actually said something on social media about not being included on the cover credits of the first Jed McKay X-Men trade paperback, and because he does a lot of art in these 16 issues so far. He's probably drawn half of them. But it can't help a boring book. Sorry. And those were 15 Marvel books that we read this week. What's in the bag? Well, we're going to start with something that I found in the dollar bin. And it just caught my eye. I thumbed through it, and I picked it up with the spinner rack and myself. I read it. This is Daredevil issue 267. This came out 1988. This has a cover date of June of 1989. I'm 16 years old. I love, this is called cremains. Cremains are the remains of your cremation. This is following a big, the Typhoid Mary storyline, written by Ann Nesenti. Pencils by John Romita Jr., inked by Al Williamson. Look at that line art. Look at the details. Where is Matt? What is he doing? And look at this advertisement. Double tap your zits with these alcohol pads to dry up your face. And Campbell's soup. Soup is good food. And we got some cereal. The King Features is trying to push on you. It's a cereal, but it's got comics in the back of it. Good luck with that. We got John Romita Jr. in the cover. And everything in Matt's life has just gone up. He's hanging in the belfry of a church. It's actually Sister Maggie's church. And he's gone to talk to Sister Maggie just real quick, to have a human contact. Sister Maggie's actually his birth mother, and he knows that now, and they know each other. They're in each other's lives once again. He's failed Karen. Karen's now a junkie. He's full of Catholic guilt. He's gone to confession. And there's an assassin out there. The assassin has a young boy. And Daredevil helps the young boy not get beaten up by the bullies of Hell's Kitchen's neighborhood. So he brings the kid back to his place safely. The dad comes home. It's like, you get away from my boy. Fight ensues. That's good. Vok, woomph, Baklish, Kirsch, crack, Kirsch. Those are just sound effects. They look complete, And then the kid's like, shoots a gun in the air. Dad, Daredevil was helping me. And then the remains of Matt Murdock's old home that got destroyed by Kingpin and Typhoid Mary in the last arc. Matt Murdock is burning all of his old things. There's some street kid in the background. So, hey, there's a TV upstairs. Mind if I take that? Take anything you want. And then it just advances Matt into the next part of his life. And the next part, he goes on a train and he tries to, get out of the city for a little bit. Matt Murdock's dead. Publicly. I think he goes in, when he comes back to New York, he gets the black armor. I love this, but it's really so well. Look at I love Karen Page. She'll never forgive me. She's gone. I love the law. They closed my storefront law office down forever. No, don't think about what's ruined and lost. Think about the wind, how it carries rose and pine, the smell of the funeral parlor down the block, rose and pine, and underneath, death, and under that, the smells of the mourners, the smells of contempt and relief. Kingpin, Typhoid, how would I love to wrap them in contempt. Pine and rose. Pine being a pine box. It's the cheapest kind of coffin you can make. And rose, flowers for the dead. And you can unpack that all from some skillfully placed words by a woman who was hired as an assistant secretary at Marvel Comics. She was an office girl. And guess what? She, volunteered to write some stuff. She also was, around this time too, she was just wrapping up editing Uncanny X-Men. She had, just Anna Senti. I love her Daredevil stuff. I need to see more of it. And that's and that's my balance too. It's not about Stephanie Phillips. It's not about Erica Schultz. Erica Schultz can bring game. She's got it. I've been reading and enjoying Daredevil Unleash Hell, the Red Band. That's current. It's pretty all right. What else do we got? I picked this up too, off the shelf, and pretty cheap. I think I don't know if they charge me or pay, or maybe $1 or $2, but it's from Free Comic Book Day in 2020, and it's a 0 issue. My friend Wes at Think Critical, he knows I'm a huge Blade Runner fan, and so he's been advising picking up any of these Blade Runner books on Titan. He says they're really, really good. He loves them, and so it's a 0 issue. This is what it's for. It's supposed to whet your appetite, and so I'm interested. Like, is this going to be in the continuity of the 2049 movie? Does it have to be, or is there like a comic book continuity? Or is it based upon the Philip K. Dick books, which has would have a different? They wouldn't have the Tyrell Corporation. You would have the Rosen Corporation, and you would also have there is competing brands of replicants. And I'm thinking also hey, wouldn't it be fun to have Yutani Wayland be a competitor to Tyrell with their not replicants? They have synthetics. I can see them fitting together like cogs in a machine. There is a tenuous connection between Blade Runner and Aliens. It's in the 1986 Aliens by Jim Cameron. And when you see Dallas's info card behind Ripley at her debriefing, if you're able to isolate the data card itself, which comes, I guess, in supplemental bonus stuff on one release, it says that he worked for Tyrell Company, Dallas, the captain of the Nostromo. This is geeky shit, huh? I love it. What did we get this week? Superman, Absolute Superman number 7, with guest art by Carmine Di Giandomenico. I love the art in this book. The colors are, well, remember, the colors of Brainiac are everqueer anyway. Purple, green, and pink, But this is such a really hardcore Brainiac. It's so interesting. It's so grotesque. He's such a mad scientist, and he's and there's a balance to Kal-El's story, ultimate Kal-El story as well in Brainiac itself. This is really good. I mean, Jason Aaron's on his top of his game here. And it's the only Absolute book that I've been buying on my pull list. Let me get a sip of water. What else came this week? I'm glad I put this on my poll list. I wasn't expecting issue 7 to come out so soon, but issue 7 of The Sickness on Uncivilized Books for $6. Jenna Cha, art by Donnie Nadler, and letters by Hassan Atsmani Allahu. And it looks like this. It's all pencil art. It's black and white pencil art, but it's such great art. I love this style. I like this stuff. And it's a mystery unfolding, and it's a bit like Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. And it uses grotesque and disgusting and horror. And I got them all, and I need to go back and read them all. And it's been a while since the last one came out, but so glad I put this on my pull list, because they probably only got one copy just for me. We got G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 316. Great Andy Kubert cover. Joe Ninjas are going undercover in Springfield. There's Springfield's kind of like, well, it came before The Simpsons. Which Spring? I mean, where is G.I. Joe Springfield? Let's ask. Let's ask where is G.I. Joe Springfield? Illinois? The question appears to be asking about the fictional location of G.I. Joe in the media franchise, G.I. Joe franchise, including the toilet, which is not specifically set in. The Cobra base could be anywhere in Middle America. So there's no state associated with the town of Springfield in G.I. Joe, the Cobra front, the Cobra city, the Cobra town. It's like Lost. And, you have the bungalows and, But also the Simpsons are like that too. I mean, their Springfield isn't in a state either. I believe, though, the Q is like Matt Groening named all like Shelbyville and Ogdenville and North Haverbrook. These are all cities and towns around where he grew up in Portland, like in Washington State, or G.I. Joe. It was good. Yeah, it was. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Art's pretty good. Paul Pelletier's back for an issue, but not much happens. It's like a family, a Crimson Guard, and his wife and 2 kids have given themselves up to G.I. Joe after the Cobra Civil War, after the impossible but comic booky, over the top, super powered Cobras. Revenge is the AI that's kind of like a golem, So it's teamed up with some Cobras such as Serpentor, the current Serpentor known as Serpentor Khan, Dr. Mindbender, and they've all been infected with some kind of zombie virus, and a whole host of dead Cobras, that just get enhanced with this part cybernetics and part zombie strength. It was just so over the top and comic booky. It was great, and it came down to a fight between Destro and Cobra Commander. And so so it's one of these in-between issues that we get in G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, where it's just like the story happens. That's it. And that's all it really does. They get 5 issues in a row of like in country, on the ground, in the air, in the sea, in the fight, using slangs and military jargon, and showing high detailed of best weapons and shit. And then you'll get one of these in between issues that resolve and set up, and it's good. These are really good storytelling devices. Larry Hama has been plying his trade as a writer for 50 years in these comics. Seriously, it's literally old hat to him. He's a master storyteller. He's a master comic book writer. I would love to see some scripts of his. You know what I mean? What do you tell the artist? What kind of information do you give them? Pick of the week: Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma, issue number 2 by Ram V, with art by Anad RK, 1 page by Jackson Butch Geis, who just passed away, and it's at the beginning. And he did a lot of 90s double lot stuff. He did a lot of 80s stuff too. Micronauts. Whatever happened to Resurrection Man? He was big in the 90s. I love it. Yeah, this is a really good book. This is a double page splash. This is Atom, Ray Palmer. And this is a big fight scene. I mean, the art is good. I mean, it's kind of cartoony. It's very digital. Like, but it works for the story. And I had to read this twice, and I'm glad I did, because it was like, oh wow, this is actually a really deep story. If you like Ram V, it's like he's not trying to be Grant Morrison; he's just being Ram V, but he gets that Grant Morrison level of trippy, heady stuff, of mythological stuff. You know, I guess it doesn't pretend to be smart. It was written by somebody who's genuinely smart and makes associations and makes reference and uses world mythologies, and just wow, this is some really good stuff there. And that's all we got this week. It's supper time here in Boston, Massachusetts, home of the beans and the chowder. What's for supper tonight there, Sully? Maybe some grilled cheese sandwiches. I don't know. And, you know, I had to make sandwiches this morning, so they were kind of like grilled cheeses with an egg on them and a little bit of mayo, crushed black pepper, and garlic powder. I had pizza all weekend too, so it's like I love the chowder. Chowder, it's chowder. It's time to get going. Thank you so much, everyone, for you in the chat, for everyone that's watching the show later on. Please smash that like button and subscribe. We're going to try to break 2,000 subscribers by the end of this calendar year, all by doing nice guy content and trying to avoid the outragey stuff. It's either that or I have to go back to Incelcast. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, everyone out there, you have a great week. We'll see you next week. Same Sully time, same Sully channel, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. WSUL, comic books, and Star Wars. Hopefully making Star Wars more of a... Well, it's Star Wars month. Now I'm celebrating all month long. And it's lots of reasons to celebrate. And the fighting is just interesting to comment on. Not to be part of. You know, I try not to get into Twitter arguments about Star Wars anymore. What's the use? What's the purpose? I mean, they're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change theirs. I mean, it's just a pity that that's the way it is. Like, I have to accept Disney stuff and their fans. They don't accept me. And we were here first. It's ours now. You can have it. And I'll have mine. I'll keep mine. Thank you so very much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And me and Pikachu will see you next week in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.